Hey, friends. Happy Thursday. I wanted to talk about a conversation that kind of goes like this. Maybe some of you guys can relate. Whenever you're dialoguing with somebody, they may say to you, Can you repeat that? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. I think I'm missing something. Or why are you just telling me this? Like, didn't we talk about this? I feel like we're having the same conversation over and over again, like the same argument. What's going on? Like maybe you guys can relate to some of these conversations or these statements, these questions. And I wanted to show you guys an illustration of why somebody may be perceived to not listening to you or listening to previous conversations that you've had with them. And to do that, this illustration, I hope will help maybe explain what's really going on. And to do that, I have this really advanced whiteboard here. It's a smart board, really hard to find. But thankfully, if you have a child nearby, you might be able to find a few, as is with the case with us in our house. So this is how conversations usually go, right? You have two people talking, right? This is the conversation that is being had. It could be whatever. It's not an argument. It's not even a conflict. It's not even a hard discussion. It's just a conversation. This is what is being verbally shared, okay? Now, at the same time that this is going on, okay, we are all doing this to everyone, our spouses, our kids, our coworkers, a salesperson, a vendor, whoever, okay? We are having one conversation here, as well as a conversation about the conversation. Is this true? Is this accurate? Do I agree with it? Are they full of crap, right? So there's a conversation happening about this conversation. There's also a conversation happening about the other person. If it's my spouse, it's probably past judgments, past fears, past issues, maybe even future projections, future anxieties, right? I'm judging this person because they just came in off the street and they want to sell me something. Who are you? You're interrupting me. I don't have the time of day to talk to you. And then there's another conversation about ourselves. Is my spouse respecting me? Are my kids liking me? Do I sound smart? Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? It's all about me here. This is all about me. So this is the conversation that's happening. These are the other conversations that are just as important to us, and they're just as noticeable. But really, this is the only thing that's being spoken about. And that's whenever we hear these conversations of, wait, can you repeat that? Because they're not in this conversation. They're not hearing the leader in the boardroom, not hearing you in the kitchen, or the kid's not listening to you. I see this all the time. Whenever I'm talking to even my son Micah, who's 3.5, right? I'll ask him, "Hey, buddy, can you pick up something?" And the 0 to 60, boom, he blows up. He's mad. He's frustrated. And I've been guilty of so often, getting mad back at him, right? Like, what the heck? Because I'm now filtering the conversation of how he responded to me. Like, you're disrespecting me. You obviously don't like me, right? And I'm your dad. You should know better. And I repeat, tick for tack, or even towards my wife, or I've done this with clients. I'm guilty of this. I just respond to the conversation. All the while, the original conversation is now long gone. I mean, it's not even a faction, a variable anymore. In those moments, there's a few things, friends. So what can we do in all this? Keep in mind, let's be honest. There's plenty of other conversations happening around with our cell phones, kids, pets, interruptions from work. There's all these other things. But if we can actually discover what conversation is really being had, how much easier could life look like? How much more effective and how much more meaningful conversations can we have? How much more honesty can we have? Because let's be honest, the danger in not figuring out what's really going on, what conversations are really going on, this is where gossip and drama and really kind of cultivate and yield its ugly head. Because most of the time, and I know this is true for me, I take this conversation, I'll take my conversation with myself, I'll take my conversation about the other person to somebody else who's not in the conversation. And I'll badmouth and I'll talk about, and I'll be like looking like the hero here. And if you can relate, just be honest, because if you think you're not above this, come on. Reality is that we all do this. And the danger of not being honest to dive into questions of discovering where we are leads to gossip, drama, and unfortunately, breakups, whether they be in business or in personal life or wherever. And it hurts. There's consequences to that. And you do it over and over again, and then there's really longer term issues at hand. This is where I feel like we've had this conversation over and over again. Well, we're just building up the stories and the judgments about ourselves, about the other person. So then how do we do this? What do we do now, knowing that this is all happening before us? Are we willing to ask the people in the room that we're talking to, ask our children, ask our spouses, our clients, our prospects, hey, what are you hearing me say? Like, hey, can you tell me what I just said? Am I willing to stop talk? Like, no more talking. Am I willing to actually ask you, hey, can you tell me what I just said? And let's say the person brings up, the filter, or they bring about themselves, or maybe they bring about you, like, you're always so needy, or, why do you always need to do this? And, why do you guys always change our sales numbers? Or like, why does leadership here not listen to our voice, or whatever? Like, as the person who's asking the question, am I willing just to hear it? Can I hear this conversation, even though this was the original starting point? Now the conversation has gone somewhere else, and I can take that as a threat, or I can take that as a gift. And if you're willing to ask the question, let me invite you to consider it to be a gift, because you'll finally know what's really going on. Whenever Micah tells me, Daddy, I wanted to play with my toys and I got frustrated. Okay, you're 3.5, I get it. Yeah. Now, it's still true. He may have to go to bed and the toys still need to be picked up. But whenever I know where he's at, and when I know what stories are going on in his mind, I'm able to just lower my guard and still have the conversation with him of, hey, buddy, we still need to do these things, but thank you for sharing. And I really appreciate that. I can validate him, and I can sit with him in that, and then we can move forward with really what needs to get accomplished, or even move forward with Em in our marriage to a place where she feels known, she feels heard, she feels respected. I feel heard, I feel respected. And by the way, this may not happen in one foul swoop. Like, just because you have this conversation doesn't mean you need to go again. Okay, this isn't a trick. This isn't magic. Just by asking, hey, what did you hear me say, doesn't mean you're poof, life is better. It means, am I willing to ask that again? What did you hear me say? Okay, thank you. So if what I'm hearing from you is this, is that true? Good, thank you. That's great. Am I willing to do the same thing to them? Because the whole purpose of this is, if we want connection, and if we want to be if we want connection, it's only going to happen if we're actually present in the conversation and present in the other conversations that are also happening at the same exact time. We're relational beings, friends. I would love to hear from you guys if this is something that you struggle with, in any extent, whether it's with your kids, your business partners, your home life. This doesn't happen in just conflict. This isn't just like a reality for hard conversations. This is life. And I just want to invite you all into a space of actually listening to each other as we serve those around us. You can still be a great salesperson and listen really well. You can say no to a salesperson and still listen really well. But are we willing to ask the questions of, what are you hearing from me? Okay. And am I willing to actually share myself of, hey, you know what, this is the story that I make up about you. Am I willing to be honest about the filter that I'm operating and maybe the inadequacies that I'm feeling about myself? Am I willing to invite those conversations? Because it goes two ways. Is somebody willing to ask, and is somebody willing to share? And it takes both. There isn't a 50-50 balance. It is a shared responsibility of, if we are actually listening to each other, are we actually sharing with one another from a place that is, here's where I'm at. And I welcome the feedback, and I welcome the gift to grow. It's for the sake of the connection, maybe for the sake of the goal, for the sake of the commitment that we've made to each other or to our clients, right? So friends, that's just something I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, or if you're finding it hard to navigate what's going on or how to really discover the conversations that are happening, DM me. More than happy to stand with you all. This is not work that is just done in one foul swoop. I've seen it happen, because whenever somebody steps into presence and into vulnerability and into creativity, man, so much is more possible. And so I just want to invite you into that conversation. Are you listening? And whenever you are, what opportunities are before you that weren't there before, and connecting with the people that you love and care for the most. So thanks, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day, and let's connect soon. Take care.